Okay. Good evening, everyone. Hope I'm audible. I'm sharing my screen. Just give me a second, please. Okay. So I think I'll just take a quick recap. Hope my screen is visible. So yesterday we started with safety in laboratory. Light off check. ఇక్కడ ఉంచు. ఇక్కడ ఉంది. దీని డోర్ బ్యాక్ సైడ్ ఉంచు. Okay. Yeah. So just a second, please. Yeah, yesterday we started with the safety in laboratory. We have seen various concepts. We have seen what are the different types of PPEs required, and also safety and also emergency equipments required in the laboratories. Then we have seen general rules for chemical storage and storage criteria, and chemical segregation. And we have discussed storage zones, also chemical storage containers, and utility hazards and controls also we have discussed. When we say utilities, basically these are used for heating and cooling purposes of our processes. And we have seen hazards associated with the utilities. Okay. Then also we covered pollution hazards and controls, then instrumentation for safe plant operations. What are the different types of instruments we use for safe operation of the plants? We have seen the different examples. Then we have covered flame-proof equipments, pressure control instruments, then instruments for safety. So in part of that, we are about to cover this one. So complex instruments like analyzers and also speed controllers, vibration monitors, etc. Our solids waiters are generally less reliable. The consequence of their failure should be carefully analyzed. Some of the analyzers or controllers, if they are not working in an accurate manner, so we should be having a backup plan in case of it failures. So how we can able to control or how we can able to manage. Then out of different types of pressure regulators like PRVs, NRVs, EFE, safety valves, or rupture disc. So anybody help me on EFV? I'm not able to recall. Pressure relief valve, non-return valves. SV, I'm assuming safety valve, or RD, I'm sure rupture disc. The right one should be selected at the right place. No bypass should be provided between this pressure regulators. We can't should install any bypass between this. And also the control valve should be selected properly in nominal capacity, range, ability, control characteristics, flow limit when fully open, and cooling fins for temperature protection, below seals to prevent the leaks, and also mechanical balancing capacity against the process, and also pressure or factor to be considered for the selection. for the normal capacity, range of ability, and control characteristics. When you are considering any instruments, we should check the capacity of that instrument and also the range of ability. So how extent it can carry, or what extent it can give the results or the parameters. Then instrument should not become a source of ignition. Electrical area classification should be considered. Then they should be flame proof as per the requirement. Sometimes the instrument itself, it should not be an ignition source for the flammable atmosphere. That is also one great consideration we have to see based on the uh, electrical area classification. Based on the zone classification, we have to choose the specific or suitable instrument. Okay. So with this, we have done yesterday's session. I can share my screen again with the new topic. So yesterday we are discussing about the orifice, or it is in a rupture disk actually. So this is how the rupture disk work. So this rupture disk, it is in a new one. When it opens, it look like this. It just tear off. There is a thin layer of arrangement between or within this plate. So you will be installing this rupture disk between the flanges so that it can able to activate or rupture. When you say rupture, it is just a డ్యామేజ్ ఆర్ టీరింగ్ ఆఫ్ ద పేపర్, అంటే చినిగిపోవడం, దాన్ని మనం రప్చర్ అంటాం. ఇది వచ్చేసి వన్ టైమ్ యూసేజ్. వన్స్ ఇట్ ఈస్ ఓపెన్, యూ కాన్ reuse it, so we have to take out. So here in the tag you will get all the dimensions, at what pressure, manufacturer, batch number, size of the diameter of the rupture disk, everything details will be provided here. Okay. Then we talk about safe transfer of chemicals. We have seen processes, we have seen different types of chemicals, corrosives, flammables, explosives, toxic, and also we have discussed about chlorine and ammonia, LPG cylinders handling, etc. Now we'll talk about the transportation of chemicals. So when we say transportation of chemicals, what are the different ways of transportation or means of transportation of chemical? Anybody can quickly? అంటే కెమికల్ని మనం ఎన్ని రకాలుగా, ఎన్ని విధాలుగా మనం ట్రాన్స్పోర్ట్ చేయొచ్చు? మీరు చూసే ఉంటారు అన్ని.
By containers, by road.
Yes, Srinivas. Basically, when we say, as in a broader concept, transportation will be happen by road, rail, air, and water. Okay. So if I say chemical, by road we can use the containers or the lorries. We can use, and also we can use barrels, each different sizes, and bottles, and the barrels also made of different types of materials, MOCs, etc. Yes, Ravindra Bell, HDPE, high density polyethylene containers, and PP, polypropylene, polyethylene, different types of PVC, different types of containers made of different types of materials we use for the transportation of chemical. Apart from this, broadly, we use pipelines, we use road tankers, we use barrels, and also we use pipeline, that I have already mentioned. These are the different ways we can transport the chemical. I got another answer. Yeah, using HDPE. Fine. So here is one of the this thing. So they are unloading the chemical from a tanker. So pipeline is the one of the means of transportation of a chemical. I think pipeline infra, you people are the best example for these cases. So pipelines are required to carry the variety of materials such as water, steam, air, oil and gas, inert or toxic or vapor or compressed, brain, solvents or other liquids and gases, chemicals, from a storage tank to the process vessels, from the process vessel to the product tanks, and from there to the filling, loading points. Pipelines are required. One is for the raw materials and different types of materials. When you say chemicals, from the storage, when I say tank form area, where the raw material storage, from raw material storage to the process vessels, When I say process vessels, to the reactors. From the reactors, after the completion of the process, then from there to the product tanks, which is nothing but finished goods product tanks. From there, it will go to the loading or packing area. If you go for bulk containers, then it will go for loading. If you are going with any IBs, like 1,000 liters, or we will go for 200-liter barrels, or if you go 50-liter, based on the customer requirement, it will go for filling or packing. There we need a pipeline, and they may be above ground, underground, as per the requirements. Some 20 to 30% costing is estimated in the pipelines, and also their fittings like flanges, valves, gauges, nipples, glands, bends, elbows, plugs, reducers, joints, coupling, fuels, vents, or drains, etc. 20 to 30% of cost in the pipeline, it costs this these items. And pipe work may be a cast iron, mild steel, stainless steel, lead, copper, or plastic, PVC, PP, HDPE, rubber, canvas, glass or FRP, then glass line, rubber lined, Teflon coated, asbestos cement or RCC, stone or ceramic. These are the different types of varieties of materials we use for this manufacturing of the pipes, and the same pipes we use for the different types of application. Each type of material or each type of pipe is used for their specific usage or suitable usage. Then criteria for piping installation. So the main factors are the material of construction, design and layout, supports and clamps, welding or flange joints, packaging and gaskets, valves and other fittings, easy approach and working platform, and testing and maintenance. One factor is material of construction, design and layout. One is MOC, what type of material you are choosing for the material. For example, any acids, we can't use any iron pipes. They'll go with a HDP or plastic or rubber pipelines, or if it is you're using any metal pipe, there you'll have a Teflon coated or PVC coated inside. The lining will be there. There use the lining pipeline so that it is compatible. Otherwise, if you're using a steel pipe or an iron pipe, it will get corroded with the reaction. Then design and layout. This is also another factor. How you design and also your layout of the pipeline. It should not be so haphazard. It should be properly designed for the approach or supports or clamps, even welding or flange joint,
Which type of chemical you
packing
have to
and the
use?
gaskets, the valves and other fittings, the easy approach of, and also working platform, testing for the maintenance, etc. It should be easily approachable, and there wherever required, you have to create in a working platforms and also testing and maintenance. The material construction is selected depending upon the nature of. You can't simply select a material or a pipe based on your choice, or somebody decides the pipe should purchase. It is about the suitability or incompatibility. Okay, basically you'll have corrosivity, toxicity, flammability, and also the quantity, weight, flow, and pressure, and the other parameters like temperature, viscosity. Okay, sorry. So here, not only the nature, you should also check the parameters. So parameters like the material temperature while passing through the pipes, and also the viscosity of the material, and then the color, and also the expansion, etc. in case of any thickness or the temperature increases. And thickness of the pipe, its quality, welding pattern, flanging are to be considered while selecting for high pressure and temperature lines. So thickness of the pipeline and its quality, and also welding patterns, and also welding quality, and also flanges and fittings has to be carefully considered. For extremely hazardous chemicals, the pipes are tested for intergranular corrosion and also certified before used. And insulation is applied to prevent heat and also tracing contact tubing for the supplying heat to the inner materials. Okay, for highly hazardous chemicals, they'll check the intercorrosion. Sometimes what will happen, there will be a pitting happen in between the layers of the material or the pipe within the thickness. There will be a chance of corrosion, so it can develop further when you are using for any certain chemicals. It can get in contact, then it get corroded. And also they will use the insulation for these pipelines to avoid the exposure of external heat to the internal material. Then safety aspects with respect to the pipe work. Generally, the probability of leakage from a pipelines is proportional to the length of the pipelines. When I say proportion, as we see in the accident hierarchy. So if the more the people are involved, more humans involvement, there will be a more chance of accidents, because 80% of accidents we believe that happens due to the human errors or due to unsafe actions. The same way, whenever the pipeline length increases, automatically the number of leaks also will increases, or the probability అంటే ఎక్కువ సార్లు ఎక్కువ చోట్ల లీక్ అయ్యేదానికి ఛాన్స్ ఉంటుంది. And also one is length of the pipelines, number of joints, valves, vent, bleeds and drains, etc. The complexity such as number of connections, uh, recycle streams, hours of work. Is even though the length of the pipeline, even number of joints, number of walls or vents or bleeds, these also indicates the chances of a more increase of the leakages. And minimize a pipe length, branches and also joints and flanges on the vacuum lines, and provide welding joints for highly flammable or toxic chemicals, good gaskets, gland packing, flange guards to deflect leak downward, and flexibility to allow the thermal expansions like winters and summer seasons, extremely high temperatures and extremely low temperatures, where the pipes can give a thermal allow to take that expansion, and below subjected to axial movements. Drains and traps at the visual places, so that it will be easy to take the the samples. Then removable uh, plugs on sample points. So plug is nothing but a kind of a builder. So there we can insert and we can take out for the sample points. Adequate pipe supports, walkways, platforms or working places, and proper sloping for draining. Overhead clearance for vehicle movement about 6 meters, and ergonomic design for the valves to be operated, and also the gases to be seen, earthing and also bonding to remove static charge due to flow or overflow return from the measuring vessels to a storage tanks. Okay, one is visual trains and removable plugs, and also proper sloping for the draining. So especially when you're doing for maintenance, the draining is very important. And overhead clearance for the vehicle movement, this is also very important. That's where we used to have, we could see within the company itself, there are tracks have made for the vehicle movement. An ergonomic design for the valves to be operated, and also gauges to be seen. Here also we are looking for ergonomic design. When you say ergonomic design, it should be easy to visible, it should be easy to operate, it should be easy to remove. And earthing and bonding to remove the static charge, as we seen in the static electricity pipelines. Basically how the static electricity will generate quickly, what are the various reasons, or what are the various ways of generation of static electricity, how it can generate?
Materials transfer time, sir.
Okay, while transferring of materials, what will happen while
Transfer of
transferring?
material. What, sir?
Now, what will happen అంటే ఏమవుతుంది
Static
మెటీరియల్ ట్రాన్స్ఫర్ అయ్యేటప్పుడు స్టాటిక్
time,
జనరేట్ అవడానికి గల కారణం ఏంటి?
by using LEP bags.
Motions.
ఓకే, మోషన్.
Motion.
Motion in the sense the friction between two different materials. The friction will create the static electricity, and also the collision and the separation. So if you see in the reactor, I think few of our friends from the pharma industry, where you see the dip legs in the reactor, it will be almost close to the bottom of the reactor, because we can leave the material from the top also, but we'll have dip legs till the bottom to the reactor to avoid the generation of static electricity by giving the material to the bottom. Because if you're leaving the material from the top, what will happen? It will go and hit the bottom of the reactor, then it will get separated. That is also a friction and separation collision. That is also one reasons for static electricity between the two dissimilar materials or two different materials. Okay, in the pipelines we will have liquids and solids. Due to the the pressure and also the motion between, or the friction between these two, will also can leads to generation of static electricity. And also overflow written from the measuring vessels to the storage tanks, painting with color coding of IS2379. This also we have seen on cathodic protection wherever it is required. Okay, the cathodic protection to avoid the corrosion. Then more pipe work in a dike is not desirable, so particularly with hazardous chemicals, as it may be trapped in fire in a dike, or similar pipelines for the flammable or toxic would not be laid in the tunnels, as it leaks may spread from the one area to another area. So tunnels also, it is not advisable to have dikes, which is nothing but some of the it is kind of a drainage, tunnel kind of thing, where they do a piping work basically with the hazardous chemicals. Sometimes if there is any fire ignites in the dike, it can able to spread the one location to the other location. Then electric cables or hot lines and also flammable gases or liquid lines should not run side by side. Solvent line should not be laid below the corrosive line. Seam joints of rubber lined pipes should be kept upward. Then piping arrangement should be in such that in case of any failure at any point, the system can be quickly isolated by the closing valves. So this is also important. A number of closing valves should be installed in case of any damage or in case of any leakage. Our system should able to control or able to manage the leakage with a short amount of time and without disturbing the rest of the system. It is also very important. In case of any one pipe specific leak is happening, or one specific network is leaking, there we should have a bypass, so that the process will not stop. The specific or the portion of a pipe network we can able to repair. Flushing arrangement should be provided for easy startup and also maintenance. Flushing for the cleaning of the residues in the pipeline, it should be available. Pipe allays should not run over the walking allays. A normal layout should be near the walls or the sides to allow the thermal expansion. Special joints or loops should be provided. Walkway allays. So in the sense, the pipeline lines, it should not be provided over the walkways. Sometimes not. It is a very rare case where the sky walkways or skywalks we provide in the organizations for the people movement. It is very rare in case. Maybe especially we can see in only the major refineries, even refinery also. I'm quite not sure. There will be a chance of providing these walkways over the. The pipelines will have over the people walkways. Okay. Yeah. Okay. The emergency control valve should be easily accessible, and also it should be notified or known to the people. And also bypass valves should be within the easy reach. Auto control valve should be have a bypass or any manual valve which may be required in the event of any failure of auto controls. This is what we have seen yesterday. In case of any DCS controls, digital control systems controls, where we can control these valves by using the instruments. If it is failed, we should also have a manual valve to control the specific flow of the chemical. Particularly at the outlet of the bulk storage of chemicals, a manual and also remotely controlled auto isolation valve both should be provided as near as possible to the outlet. A pressure relief device, a liquid seal, a manual vent pipe, etc., should be provided to depressurize the system wherever it is necessary. So bulk storage outlets. So if you have a tank farm area where you are having an outlet from there, you should also have remotely controlled auto isolations and both as well as manual. And also there we have to provide pressure relief devices like PRVs or like SRV, safety relief valve, liquid seals, and also manual vents to relief in case of any necessity. And many different types of valve exists. It is essential to choose the type of best suited for a particular operation it has to perform. For the instances, if a ball valve are to be fitted in a high pressure position, they should be trunnion mounted where the positive segregation of products is required, say it in a multiple products. So it is about the in the design itself where we can identify what are the different types of valves required at the specific positions. And it is essential to provide a block and also bleed valves for the continuous monitoring of the valve seats, and also seats for a positive isolation. Some of the soft seat within a wedge gate action is desirable. See, these double bleed and bleed valves are suitable for the continuous monitoring. Here you will not off the supply. The continuous supply will be there, but you can check the condition of the different valves which is in the network. And pumps must be designed not only to suit the immediate pipeline requirements, but also take into account of future developments. So while choosing the pumps, so you should also look for the future requirements also. Thus, it may be necessary to stipulate a pump casing a pressure much higher than the pump can generate. If series of or boosting pumps is encased, care should be taken to ensure that the additional or larger impellers can be fitted as the system demands grows. Whenever if it needs a requirement of the inlets or pumps, it should able to have, and the maximum operating pressure of the pumps mechanical seal should be match the pumping capacity. And it may be necessary to provide the product filtration to protect the minimum clearance of the pump moving parts, particularly of a modern high efficiency pumps. To avoid the friction, should have a minimum clearance. Even the friction between the pump and the casings also can generate a sparks. Then flexible pipes, joints, and hoses should be safe, sound, and properly tested. Bolted clips or preferred to Jubilee clips, so proper supports and also the hangers are necessary. And gas piping equipments or the gauge needs external protection to protect against external impact or any internal bursting or flying fragments coming out. And layout drawings of the piping and also fitting should be maintained and corrected when any changes are incorporated. The layout of the drawing and piping fitting should be maintained. So this is also very important. The piping network. So it is also very useful whenever in case of any emergency situations or easy maintenance, and in case of identification of the leakages in a specific area. We could understand what are the different types of pipelines we have near any damage or any leakage. And use of plastic piping is increasing when it is used for hazardous gas like hydrogen, LPG, and chlorine, etc. Utmost care is required to ensure the safe joints. Normally, metal compression fittings, rings, and nuts are used. A softener ring is preferred over the hard compressing ring. Nut should not be loosened. It should be frequently checked for leakage. When any leakage is noticed, first the supply of the cylinder valve or should be closed instead of opening any electric switch or sparks or generating devices. So it's a basic thing. So whenever any leakage happens, you should shut off the supply before switching off any lights. Even in the general in our home appliances also, sometimes we could see the unfortunately unknowingly we forgot the leakage, or sometimes we forgot to shut off in case of any spills happens while cooking. Sometimes even rat bites also can lead to such leakages. So in such instances, we should switch off the supply at the regulator level instead of uh, activating or switching off the switching on the lights, etc. So it can create an ignition source to catch the fire. Then failure of packing in the valves, steam or flange gaskets opening, and the wrong valve or failure to depressurize the system before opening the joint, and also uninsulated steam or hot lines can cause accidents. Failure of packing in the valves, also steam or flange gaskets opening wrong valve or failure to depressurize the system before opening, and also uninsulated steam lines cause the accidents. Even if it is packing failure in the walls or in the stems or other gasket area, then it will leads to an accidents. Remedial measures are splash guards, replacement of gaskets, tagging, and also work permit procedures, color coding, and also proper training and supervision. So these flash guards will be over the a valve, or it will have a kind of a setup where it will not spill away. It will be just controlled and fallen within the vicinity. And also color coding of the pipeline, that is also very important, as we see in IS 2379. And also proper training and supervision on handling of the maintenance of this piping network. In above ground pipe work, which remains isolated during the normal operations, thermal relief system should be provided to protect against the increasing ambient temperatures. Thermal relief systems, it is nothing but insulation we have to provide so that we can able to protect the network from the outside atmosphere temperatures. Okay. Then underground pipelines. So these are petroleum products, crude oil, natural gas, or some of a more important products transported by underground pipelines. The size may be anywhere from up to 50 diameter and also pressure up to 1200 psi. The pipelines are laid for long distances, often cross national boundaries. Our booster stations are largely automatic stations requiring very fail-safe devices. The pipelines are usually buried about 1 meter underground and also must be protected against the corrosion. And the leakage are likely to occur. The pipelines have to be checked constantly. The biggest danger is to the pipeline